Okay, y'all. I am creating another quilt video, but this is quilts and chickens. So I've only had one video with chickens on there on this channel, and I want to go ahead and talk about one thing. And it's something I haven't ever made a video about, a specific video about. I don't know that it calls for a very long video, but over the years, I've had chickens for going on 19 years now. I've raised rare breeds, heritage breeds, hatchery stock. I have some hatchery stock now that drives me crazy. And they won't live as long as some of the others, but over the years I've heard, I didn't know chickens could live that long, or how long do chickens live? How long can chickens live? Well, there is no one simple answer for that. I do have some of the most long-lived chickens of anyone I know. I do know of one person who had a chicken that lived longer than mine have. And it was a little bantam breed. I don't remember what the breed was. Bantam means miniature if you don't know chickens. And her name was Goldie, and she was 17. Chickens have the potential to live 20 years. They rarely do because of a lot of factors. First of all, genetics. Hatchery stock has pretty sucky genetics. Genetics, they don't breed for longevity. Why would a hatchery breed for longevity? They want you to replace your stock. And you would have to replace it quite often if all you had were hatchery birds, especially the most common laying breeds who develop reproductive malfunctions and cancers and diseases quite often, because chickens are the only animal, female chickens, the only animal that contracts spontaneous ovarian tumors, cancerous tumors, like human women. And they actually study chickens, hens, for that reason, to help figure out about women's reproductive cancers. That alone should tell you why a lot of hens don't make it to 20 years old. Hatchery stock is more prone to that than good quality breeder stock. And there are people who've been breeding the same lines of chickens for over 50 years and more. There's some very famous lines. I've owned a couple of those, and I own one who is part of that line now, and she's 12. My oldest living chicken. I buried my two oldest ever living chickens this year. One was a true Americana hen named Snow. She died. She was 14. And an Easter egger. It's not an Americana. It's not an Easter egger. An Easter egger, although she came from a breeder who was trying to create a new color of Americanas, and she didn't make the cut, so he sold her to hatching eggs to a friend of mine, and the friend, who had a very healthy flock. And I'm very particular. I don't accept chickens. I don't buy chickens from people. I don't accept chickens. I only hatch here. But because of her history with zero disease in her flock, I let her gift me this beautiful little girl at 8 weeks old. And her name was June. And June died this year at 14 and a half years old. June was laying up until about 12 years old. And she started having issues then because her body was not processing the calcium that makes the shells hard, and they would crush inside of her. She would strain to get them out. It's a whole thing with prolapsed and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, she eventually did quit laying, which I was very grateful for. But those are my oldest living. June was my oldest so far. I've had another hen who was 13 years old. She was just turning 13. She laid every single year of her life. Granted, usually it got down to just 2 or 3 eggs a year, sometimes 4 or 5, 6 a year, and to the last year she laid, the year before she died, she laid 1 egg all year. Her shell quality was always good. She was crippled. She had arthritis. Just chickens get arthritis in their joints when they get old. A lot of people don't know that because they don't ever have chickens long enough for them to get arthritis. So anyway, chickens can live to 20 years old. They rarely do. Genetics are part of the problem. Predation, predators, Roaming domestic dogs are the worst chicken predator due to irresponsible dog owners. You know, almost every predator has leash laws, including the country. This entire state I live in has a leash law, and my county ordinance mirrors that. And this is a very rural county. You can't just let your dogs roam. Well, people do anyway, or they dump them out in the country roads and they end up here. Well, I've never lost a chicken to a predator, ever. In all the years I've had them, I've not lost one to a predator. Oh, it's come close. We have had our rooster teams keep that from happening. They watch the skies. That's what roosters do. They watch the skies, and they will sometimes be prepared to meet a predator head on, or they will lose their lives. They can't fight predators. Roosters cannot fight. There was one I knew of who did, but you know, not mine. And that rooster actually lived to be, and I don't know if he's still alive. I doubt he's still alive. He would be over 12 years old by now. He was 12 last time I heard. But my friend from a long time ago who owned him, she actually passed away, and the rooster was living with another friend of hers at the time because she had personal issues that precluded her having animals anymore, except a cat, and she let the rooster go live with them, and he was 12 last time I heard, but once she passed away, I never heard about the rooster again. So, but 12 is quite a long age for a very large rooster. It's just like dogs almost. The biggest roosters generally don't live as long as the smaller ones. My oldest lived bantam rooster, bantam means miniature, was a Belgian Denver rooster named Aubrey, who was he was 11 years old. And I now only own one Belgian Denver hen. She's the last of the entire breeding line that I had. She's 12. And she's showing signs that I'm going to lose her soon too. They can have strokes, especially the little ones. The really tiny ones are more prone to issues. I've had them with broken legs that you didn't know they were broken until after we did the little personal necropsy, what I call a layman's necropsy, to see what happened, and found out that she had a broken leg. That just, leg injuries can do them in. So there's genetics, there's predation, there's bad management, there is feeding them things that they shouldn't be eating, there is making them live in disgusting quarters. Anything like that will lower their life expectancy. But yeah, most all my hens live past 10 years old. The only reason that happens is because I stopped buying hatchery stock. Now, 2 years ago, I bought a whole new group of hatchery birds. The Easter eggers and the bantam cochins. But I don't know how long they're going to live. They're 2 years old now. And I guess time will tell. I'm not going to be breeding them anymore because they're a crazy bunch. They're just a flighty, crazy bunch. They're sweet, but they're nuts. And they're nothing like my breeder quality birds. I've had breeder quality birds from a bunch of different breeds. From Brahmas, the second largest breed in the United States. The Brahmas, even though they originally come from China, the Brahmas, my blue partridge Brahma rooster is now 7 years old. He's getting way up there in age. Roosters have a high stress life. My oldest lived large fowl rooster, meaning not the miniature, was a Bar Plymouth Rock named Atlas. He died about 6 months ago at 9 years old. Oldest living large rooster I've ever had. My Delaware rooster died at 6 years, 7 months. My blue Orpington rooster died at 5 years and 9 months. Just old age. Simple old age. No predation, no disease, none of that. And roosters often have heart attacks. They have a high stress, mental stress life. Hens have a high physical stress life, producing eggs. Reproductive malfunctions are very common with hatchery stock, and often that will take them out. It's a donkey that lives down the street, and I always hear him on my videos. So for people on this channel don't know that, my donkey's making the appearance today. He's really sounding off. Yeah, chickens can live to be 20 years old. That is their potential. Do they often live to be anywhere close to that? No. I've had several that live very close. Right now I have 2, they're 12. My last Delaware hen, who was the last of my breeding group, she died at 12, not too long ago. June died at 14 and a half. The Splash Americana died at 14. I've had them die at, 8, 9, 10, 11. Most of them live to be past 10 years old because I stopped buying hatchery stock. Excuse me, I've got to have a sip of something. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's out here. It's an environment. My throat is so dry. So, yes, chickens can live that way. How long do they produce? That varies. Like I said, the Easter egg died at 14 and a half. She was laying eggs up until a couple of years before, about 2.5 years before. The Splash Americana that died just a couple months before she did, she hadn't laid in probably 5 or 6, well, maybe longer than that, probably 7 years. Production is a different thing. These Americanas, the Americana line that I had, didn't work big producers anyway. Hatchery stock is usually bred for production. And in lieu of their conformation, the look, the way they're supposed to look as the breed that they are, in lieu of longevity, in lieu of anything. They're bred for egg production more than anything else. And that's it. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, but the basic answer is they can live a long time. Mine most often do live a long time. Some, my original flock, all died of reproductive malfunctions beginning at just past 2 years old. Hatchery stock. I vowed never to have hatchery stock again. I had one here and there that might have been from a feed store purchase, and this whole flock is from a different hatchery than I ever have purchased from before. I don't know what their longevity is. My Brahmas, my big blue partridge and partridge Brahmas I got from a breeder in New York. Got the hatching eggs from a breeder in New York. He breeds fine Brahmas. It's an import color. So they're beautiful birds. But it was my rooster and it was 6 hens, and he's lost 3 of them in the last year. No, they weren't sick, nothing in particular. I just think that's the longevity of that line. These are large birds. My rooster he's at least 2 feet tall. He comes up to, when he stands up and his head raises up, he comes to mid-thigh on me. He's huge. He's very sweet. But his hens are 7 years old now. The two that are left, and his daughter is 6 years old. So they're all, they're going to be gone soon. They won't live to be 12 years old, in my opinion. But see, you don't know until you get the particular line that they come from. You don't really know. The upside is they live a long time. They're great pets, The downside is they live a long time. They don't always produce that whole time. So if your idea is production, you may not care about that. I got tired of burying young hens. One thing after another. Internal laying, egg yolk peritonitis, reproductive cancers, all kinds of stuff that took out these hens, and they took them out way too young, and I got tired of that. That's why I quit buying hatchery stock and went to good quality breeder stock and hatched everything here. So that's the short answer, kind of. There's no particular answer, and you can't make them live longer. You can, manage them well, and I will, maybe if I can remember to, I'll link my video of 10 Commandments of Good Flock Management. It's just a summary, not orders, just a summary. That's just a catchy name for the summary of how my management philosophy. And but you know what? All the good management and the good care in the world cannot overcome sucky genetics. Just know that. Thanks for watching. Bye.